The Iranian Americans for Liberty calls on the United States Department of the Treasury to immediately investigate Ali Larijani and his immediate family, including Fatemeh Ardeshir Larijani, under Executive Order 13876. As a senior advisor to Ayatollah Khamenei, Larijani is entrenched in the Islamic Republic's decision-making apparatus, pockets nearly $17 billion annually in oil exports, while the United Nations recorded over 975 executions in 2024 alone. While ordinary Iranians endure repression, Larijani's relatives, such as Fatemeh Ardeshir Larijani, a physician at Emory Healthcare in the United States, appear to enjoy privileges abroad that may be sustained by regime-linked resources. The Treasury Department's July 2025 sanctions on Ali Shamkhani set a clear precedent. Iranian Americans for Liberty therefore urges Office of Foreign Assets Control to scrutinize the Larijanis for potential designation as specially designated nationals, which would freeze their assets and revoke visas, advancing accountability against the Islamic Republic's corrupt elite. Kian Shahbazi, brother of political prisoner Babak Shahbazi, announced in a video message that after 8 days with no news of his brother, his attempts to obtain information outside Karaj Ghazal Hazar prison have been fruitless. According to him, prison officials have only promised that Mr. Babak will be allowed to contact his family sometime next week. Earlier media outlets reported that the death sentence of Babak Shahbazi, a political prisoner accused of espionage, had been upheld by Iran's Supreme Court. His conviction and pending execution have sparked growing concern over the imminent risk to his life. Shahab Darabi, a truck driver from Islamabad Gharb, who had been arrested by security forces for supporting the truck drivers' strikes, has been sentenced by the Revolutionary Court to 3 years and 1 day in prison. This verdict was recently delivered to Darabi and is directly linked to his participation in the truck driver strikes, as well as posting supportive content on social media. The conviction is part of the ongoing pressure on protesting workers and drivers, who in recent years have repeatedly been pursued and arrested for speaking out against their livelihood and working conditions. For the second time, the Supreme Court has rejected the retrial request of Mashallah Karami, father of the late Mohammad Mehdi Karami. He is currently serving his sentence in Karaj Central Prison. In addition, Mr. Karami's request for conditional release was recently rejected by Branch 12 of the Al-Borz Court of Appeals. After consolidation of charges, he was sentenced to 3 years and 7 months in prison, while in 2 separate cases, he had previously received a total of 5 years and 3 months. Mashallah Karami was arrested and, after 3 months in quarantine, was transferred to Ward 15 of Karaj Central Prison. At the time of his arrest, security forces also confiscated all electronic devices and bank cards belonging to his family. Daniel Moqaddam, a rap singer, has been sentenced by Tehran's Revolutionary Court to 8 months in prison and 2 years of banishment from residing in Tehran province and neighboring provinces. According to his lawyer, Mohammad Hadi Jafarpur, the ruling was issued on charges of propaganda against the regime. Moqaddam was previously arrested after being summoned to the Evans Security Prosecutor's office. Sources close to him reported that the summons was linked to his sit-in outside Evin prison and the performance of a song in solidarity with justice-seeking families and victims of the uprising. The rapper had earlier been sentenced by Shiraz Revolutionary Court to 1 year of imprisonment under electronic surveillance. Reports indicate that a 4th case has been opened against Abolfazl Khurram, a patriotic and monarchist teacher imprisoned in Iraq. Coinciding with Israel's attack on the Islamic Republic, this imprisoned teacher was beaten with handcuffs and shackles by 7 prison officers and transferred to solitary confinement. According to fellow inmates Amir Farahani, known as Amir Palang, a prison officer notorious for assaulting prisoners, severely beat him. Mr. Khurran was held in solitary confinement for 10 days. Now, 2 months later, a new case has been fabricated against him. Of his 3 previous cases, he was acquitted in 2, while in the 3rd, he was sentenced to 1 year in prison and 74 lashes. The 9th branch of the Arak prosecutor's office has now filed fresh charges against this jail teacher under the accusation of disturbing prison order, settling bail at 500 million tomans. Mehdi Nouri, also known as Araz Irani, a monarchist political prisoner arrested for raising the lion and sun flag with the crown and displaying images of the Pahlavi kings in the streets of Iran, was once again attacked in Ward 7 of Ardabil Central Prison. According to reports, he was beaten by a dangerous inmate named Ismail Khani and sustained injuries from the assault. Since his arrest, 3 legal cases have been filed against this political prisoner. One of these cases was initiated following a complaint by Mr. Ameli, Khamenei's representative in Ardabil. So far, Mehdi Nouri has been sentenced to 2 cases to prison, lashes and fines, and recently a new case has been filed against him on charges of disturbing public opinion. Aida Younesi has announced that her brother, Ali Younesi, an imprisoned student, has been transferred to the general ward of Karaj's Ghazal Hazar prison after enduring 6 weeks under harsh conditions in Qom prison. Mr. Younesi had previously been moved from Tehran's Evin prison following the prison airstrikes to the Greater Tehran Penitentiary and later to Qom. He was recently handed a new sentence of 6 years and 3 months in prison, exile and social restrictions in separate case. Ali Younesi, a national and international astronomy Olympiad medalist, was arrested alongside fellow student Amir Hossein Moradi by Iran's Ministry of Intelligence. Both were sentenced to 10 years in prison by lower courts and appeals, a term later reduced by the Supreme Court last year to 6 years and 8 months. An interrogation session for Paria Marandiz, a Baha'i artist and theater and cinema actress, was held at Branch 3 of the Public and Revolutionary Prosecutor's Office in Tehran. She faced charges of propaganda against the Islamic Republic, supporting the Zionist regime and insulting the sacred, and presented her defense. At the end of the session, she was temporarily released on bail set at 3.5 billion tomans. Her interrogation came after 4 rounds of lengthy questioning. A group of defrauded members of the Specialists Housing Cooperative held a protest outside the cooperative's office in Gohardasht, Karaj, demanding clarification on the status of their lands and housing units. The municipal workers of District 2 of Zahedan held a protest in front of the department building over 5 months of unpaid wages. A group of social security retirees in Kermanshah, Rasht, Ahvaz, Shush held a protest against poverty, poor living conditions, and the authorities' disregard for their demands. A group of retired telecommunications workers in Tehran held a protest against poverty, poor living conditions, and the authorities' neglect of their demands. Retired steel and mine workers marched in Isfahan chanting, "Enough with the empty promises, our tables are empty." A group of imported truck owners staged a protest outside the Ministry of Industry, Mine and Trade. They said their trucks have been stuck in customs for 2 years, with government promises leading nowhere. A group of employees at Fajr Jam gas refinery staged a protest. They said their action was a direct response to corruption, mismanagement, and deep-rooted failures in Iran's industry and energy sectors. A fiery protest broke out in Ali Godars, where angry residents confronted the head of Lorestan's regional water authorities, denouncing water transfer policies. With loud chants and bold slogans, they warned the Deputy Energy Minister and official Hassan Nejad, "Stop looting our water or we will not stay silent." Shopkeepers at Ferdowsi Mall in Tehran, a major clothing distribution and sales center, staged a protest over market stagnation, heavy taxes and rents, and frequent power outages that have disrupted their businesses. Shiraz residents who took to the streets to protest water and power cuts chanted, "Police forces return to the side of the people." A number of Kazerun residents took to the streets to protest water and power outages. Angry protesters in Shiraz sang the national anthem, "Ey Iran," in front of the Fars governor's office. A group of residents in Islam Shahr staged a protest outside the local electricity office in response to widespread power outages. Merchants and shopkeepers in Saveh gathered to protest the repeated power outages and warned that if the situation continues, it will lead to a complete shutdown of the city's marketplace. A number of Tehran residents protesting widespread and prolonged power outages chanted slogans against the Islamic Republic. Residents of Shiraz also were protesting widespread and prolonged power outages and chanted slogans against the Islamic Republic. The Lion and Sun national flag was raised on the walls of Shiraz municipality.
زنده‌باد شاهزاده زنده‌باد شاهزاده درود بر شاهزاده رضا پهلوی درود بر شرف درود 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 بر شاهزاده پهلوی